So I can admit now, right? I was never really into dating a young person as like a teen and stuff like that. But I always did have a bit of a romantic style to myself, I guess we could say. I had I loved writing letters to people and getting them gifts or remembering things about them. And not so much, and I would do this for family and friends. So it wasn't really like I wanted these people to like me, but I just loved that romanticization kind of thing of giving somebody a special attention or being like, hey, I see you, I hear you, I heard you, I understand you. And I have letters and stuff that I've had for years that people like wrote to me when I was like in my teens. And these were like kind of complicated relationships in a way because these people like I liked them and I wasn't sure if they liked me or not, and I was never 100% sure. And then they would like pop up with a girlfriend or never tell me anything, and then the relationship would fizzle out or the friendship would fizzle out, which is very natural, like when you're growing up, right? But when I started to read these letters that I got older, I just started to see this kind of trend that there was a deep connection, but none of us, like neither of us, were allowing for it to flow. And a lot of the time, it was, "Oh, you're just so amazing," and like people just feel like I was so amazing that I was like not able to. And I hope this doesn't sound like I'm egotistical, but you know, I was kind of an overachiever and stuff like that. And I think people always assume that I wanted someone who was like that. And I mean, I never really cared about like if you're the smartest person in the class or something like that. I just wanted someone who I could have a conversation with. But a lot of people felt intimidated by me. Um, and that intimidation led to, I don't know, people not really taking that leap and taking that risk to kind of like want to be in a relationship. And I remember reading these letters and I realized that because I always was like, why didn't they, like Meredith, pick me, choose me? I was never like that, but I was always wondering, like, why didn't I get that chance? Why didn't anyone like stick their neck out? The one guy I dated, like, it was literally like a week in high school. The second day we had dated, he asked me like when we were going to have intercourse, and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Especially during that time, I was like very, very, very religious, very into abstinence, very much into celibacy. Um, that's a whole other conversation we can have about my journey there because I'm also back to celibacy and abstinence. But during that time, that was very much hyper focused in my mind. I was like, I can't believe you're asking me this. And I guess he just assumed that I wanted that or that I was interested in having that type of relationship. And, after that, um, when I was in my 20s, I was assaulted. And um, after that, I feel now I can identify it as like I felt that the only way I could reclaim that was, to be more promiscuous. And it was about 2 years, 2, 3 years. And I was kind of like off the chain, just, being doing the most, honestly. And it didn't do anything for me. I felt worse. I was sick, and so many things were actually happening behind the scenes during that time. And now I'm back to this stage of celibacy. And I had gone on a long-term trip, and I had a friend, and he had a friend. Like I met him, and I had known him for a while, but his friend I didn't know, but they were like childhood friends. And I don't know, there was just so all of that are like things that inspired once I had this experience. And I feel like this is probably more common than is talked about, without the whole like romantic comedy of the movie afterwards. But sometimes, you just meet a person and you see them and you're like, whoa, what? Like that's how I felt because I was never someone who was like, "Ah, I believe in love at first sight." Like I think people are good looking. I think people can be really charming and like they can have a great personality, but I'm not like you. You're the one forever. And when I met him, I didn't even speak to him for the majority of the first, like, time. It was, like, a night event. I didn't even really talk to him, and but when I saw him, something in me just felt some sort of way. Now, I know people who believe in, like, past lives or that kind of stuff, they're like, "Oh my god, like, that's your twin flame or your soulmate," or, like, "You guys must have been something in a past life." I don't know about all that stuff anymore. I was very heavily into that, and it did not help at all. But I do believe that I kind of believe in some sort of that kind of thing going on where there was something. His soul recognized mine and mine recognized his. There was something because there was an energy that I had never felt. And it was with somebody I had no conversation with. He wasn't the most handsome guy in the world. I mean, and it was like crazy. Because, I was young and I was like, as I am now, like very open to having a partner. And there was another guy there and he was kind of talking to me. I was like, well, he's sweet and like I'll talk to him. But even that guy, when that other guy walked in, it was like an almost an instant thing. Like he saw me and I saw him. We didn't do anything. I'm telling you, it was not like people were like, hey, no. But it was like everyone felt the energy and was like, interesting. Now, what's funny is this person ended up like being in a whole last relationship and they did not try to pursue anything with me, but it was just an interesting dynamic. It was an interesting feeling that I felt like in my whole person, and I had never felt like that before, and I didn't know if he was feeling the same thing, but he did certain things that I'm like, why would you be doing this if you weren't interested in me, or if you didn't at least find me interesting, or like, are you just a nice person? And there are other things, like when people are able to exhibit kindness to me, I just find that very attractive. When I see people that are willing to help others or that work really hard or considerate or are funny, those things create a stronger attraction for me. And this person exemplified a lot of those things. And like very naturally, and for me, I was like, wow. And then when me and this person finally had a conversation, I felt what they call like sparks and butterflies, right? And I met this person total two times because, I wasn't really close to anybody there, and that whole thing kind of inspired then this love letters to the person who I never had, because, and I created a conversation between two people because the other friend made it very clear that like without making it clear, right? Because that's the thing is most people they talk in like subtleties, but I felt like I was like, okay, this person is feeling some type of way towards the fact that this guy is like kind of interested in me and he can tell that he's interested in me, but also he has like a whole girlfriend. So it's like creating this whole problem. And I don't think because they wanted a long-standing friendship with me, it was like, we can't have this because like we can't have you, dating my best friend. And then like if something happened, like then you're not gonna want to be my friend kind of thing. And like that's toxic in and of itself, right? But whatever. And so I don't know, I just created a conversation because it was little things would happen when we saw each other and he would just kind of be like, oh, and like it's very micro expression. This person is very put together, but it was like clear and he was just kind and he just like took time with me and like said little things and like I felt that we both felt that there was something, but no one was going to do anything about it. And that was like, I started writing about it. And then I wanted to create something with that. And then I found all these old letters. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I think they like me, but then when they get to know me, they become intimidated. Now, of course, I am like, that's fine because if you feel intimidated by me, I'm not that interesting. And then, that's going to create a problem in and of itself. Like if you're not interested, if you can't go past that because I'm not this extraordinary person, I just have it, whatever, like I'm just normal, um, then we're not going to be able to have like a very healthy or strong relationship at the end of the day because I'm not like some people, they want their partner, male or female or female, female, whatever, whatever. A lot of people want their partner to be like, like awed by them. But I am just the search that I've been looking for. I just want someone to like just see me as a human being. I don't want them to see me as an asset, as a means to an end, as this source of inspiration that is unhealthy. I think you should inspire each other within your relationship. But if you're like, oh, like I could just never be like them, like I don't know. I understand. Like some people super love that. They're very into that. That is something that is part of the attraction for their partner, that they're like, oh, that that you either feel that way about them or that they feel that about you, right? I want to like the person. I want them to be respectful. I want them to have traits that I admire, but I don't want to make them into an idol for myself. And I don't want to be an idol for them. I just want to be a person that they love and that they care about and that they choose. And, because I'm going to choose them. Like at the end of the day, there's always going to be someone more pretty, more smart, more interesting, has more money, has more experience in this and that or whatever. That is always going to be there, but it is your choice. It is your active choice of being like, hey, like I choose you and I choose to love you because of who you are, because of who I love you to be. And yeah, your potential is great and everything, but I love you. And that is the most powerful thing. And I'm currently still looking for that, but this letter kind of, I feel like it's an experience that a lot of us go through. We fall in love with someone who's never going to fall in love with us, or we love somebody and we think they're never going to love us. So we never have that conversation. And then sometimes we end up being in those people's lives forever. And perhaps that's God's way, whatever you want to call it. But perhaps that's God's way of, kind of like keeping you safe for the person that you're supposed to be with. But it is just an experience to just have in a crush, I guess you could say, a strong rooted crush because I met this person a whole of 3 times before these ideas and these writings and these drawings that I did even came to be. Um, it felt something very powerful, and I'm thankful to that person for allowing me, or not allowing me, but creating this experience that I then felt this way because I had never had an experience like this before. And I had liked people, but never like this. Never like when I saw them, my body was like, and my heart was like the things that they talk about in the movies or in books, or, when people talk about when they met their partner. I didn't. I haven't. But then I did. And it completely opened my eyes to a completely different experience. And yeah, and that's how that one came about. And it was like I don't even an answer, but maybe you guys can cut it and fix it to what you think it needs to be. Thanks.